Okay, so we started with reading the values from an Excel file, and we have seen the different ways of reading the data from a single cell, okay, using a data formatter, and also the other ways of reading it, like converting it to a string cell value, numeric cell value, like that. And also we have seen how to read the value from an entire row, and also how to read all the data from a sheet. Okay, and we have seen how to read it into a map. Okay, and how we can create like a separate class for reading the data, where we can pass the sheet path and also the sheet name, so that we can get the data into a map, and we can return the map using this separate class. Okay, so that like we can pass any Excel sheet into the method in the separate class, and we can get the map. And we have seen an example of how to the data driven testing. So we have seen it like first we have created a I mean normal script for posting a vehicle, and then we converted that normal script to post the data. Okay, that is read from the Excel sheet, right? And then we have seen how to do the full data driven testing, like more than one vehicle if we want to post it, like how to do that. We have seen it in this one. Okay, so today like we'll see how to write the data to an Excel sheet by creating a new workbook. Okay, so in this one what we'll do is uh, we'll create a new workbook. Okay, and then we'll create a new sheet in that one. Okay, and then we'll write values to that new sheet. So for that one, what we have to do is first we'll open this workbook object. Okay, since we are creating a new workbook, we don't pass like any value here. Okay, earlier like we are using file input stream, and then we are opening an existing workbook to read the value, right? But here we are writing it to a new workbook. So we just create a workbook object here, and we don't pass anything in this one. Okay, and then we, by using like workbook.create sheet, we'll create a new sheet in that one. Okay, and then we'll create a new row by using create row on the sheet object, which is spreadsheet here. Let me, it is created. So by using create row, okay, we are creating a new row 0. Okay, that means this is the index. That means we are creating the first row, and then we have to use like create cell method on that row, and then we have to use set cell value, and then set like whatever we want. Similarly, you can create another cell, create cell of 1. That means the first, the second cell. This is the index here, 0, 1. These are all indexes. So we are creating the second cell here, and we are creating, we are saying like we are setting some value into the cell. Okay. Once everything is done,
Sorry.
yeah.
Subbu, is this what is this topic again? Sorry, I couldn't hear you before.
So,
So
am I audible clearly now, or like
now, now I can hear. I plugged in my earphones.
okay.
Um, yeah. So what is this topic actually? Like how we are? Is
So
it
we
writing data into
writing
Excel sheet?
data into an Excel sheet.
Okay.
Okay, but here we are creating a new Excel.
Okay.
Okay, that means we'll create a new workbook, and then we create a new sheet in that one, and then we write data into that. Okay,
Okay. What
but
scenarios? This I mean, this topic will help actually in Selenium automation scripting. Like when do
I
we
mean, generally,
write the data into Excel?
yes, generally, like we don't generally write any data into Excel. Yeah, it's very rare, like that we write the data into an Excel sheet. Most
Okay.
it is like for data-driven testing, we generally like read the data from the Excel, and we use it in our scripts, just like
Yeah.
and it's very common.
Mapping and
Yeah, it's very common that like we will read the data into a map. Okay, and then we
mm,
use that map in our script. That's what we do. It's very rare like to do it like writing data into an Excel sheet. Okay.
Maybe depending on some project or where you
Yeah,
need to
it
do
depends.
it. That's
Yeah.
why we need to know the concept.
Yeah, so it depends. Uh, it's very rare. Like in all
Okay.
the projects that I have done so far, like I haven't used this writing data to an Excel sheet, but still like you have to know how to use this one. In case in
Okay.
any project, if you have to save the data into an Excel sheet, then this is the process. Okay.
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 Okay. Thank you.
Now for that one, what we have to do is first we have to create a workbook object. Okay, in this workbook object, here if you see like earlier for reading the data, we use like file input stream and we used to pass that file input stream object into this XSSF workbook constructor. But here, since we are creating a new one, we don't need to create like we don't need to pass anything here. We just create a workbook object, and then we use the we create a sheet in that workbook, okay, by using create sheet method. Once that is done, we create a new row on the by using the sheet object that we have created, which is spreadsheet here, by create row. So this is nothing but the index that we pass, okay. And then once that is done, then we use like create cell method on top of this row object, and we create a cell object. Okay, once this is done, we use the set cell value method on this cell, and then we write like whatever we want. Similarly, create cell of 1, that means this is the second cell that we are creating on this row 0, and then we are once everything is done like this, then we have to create a file output stream. Okay, in the file output stream, okay, we are creating this file output stream out is equal to new file output stream of the, and this file output stream it takes a file object, so we are using like new file of wherever like we want to write it, like we will give the path. So I'm creating it in the data folder, and then I am using test results dot xlsx. That means I'm creating like a new the workbook with this name, and then we are using workbook dot write method, and whatever the workbook like that we have created the object here, and then we are using the write method, and we are passing this file output stream object so that it will create this workbook. Once this is completed, then we will close this file output stream and also the workbook. So this is how we have to do this one. Okay, this is for creating a new workbook and writing the data into that. Okay, so let's see this one. So I'm creating a new class under this one. Okay, let us say this is write data into new Excel. Okay, I'm using public static void main create. Okay, so what is the first step we have to do here? We have to create a workbook object here. So the workbook object is a workbook. I'm saying workbook equals to new XSS work. Okay, so let me import this workbook. XSS. Why it is not identifying this one? Let me just XS. Oh, sorry, this is XSSF, right? Not XSFF. Okay, so I'm importing this workbook. Okay, so now we have created the workbook object. Okay, now we have to create a sheet object on this one. So XSF sheet, I'm saying like now sheet is equal to workbook dot create sheet. Okay, create sheet, and I have to give the name something like results. That means I'm creating a sheet with this name results, and then import XSSF sheet. Okay. Once this is done, then what I have to do? I have to create a row on the sheet object by using create row. Okay. So now I'll say this is XSSF row, I'll say row equals to, okay, sheet dot create row, okay, and the row number like I'm giving like it is 0, okay. Once this is done, let me import this one, okay, and once this is done, then we have to create a cell object, okay. So which is like cell is equal to, okay, so row dot create cell of 0, okay. Import cell from, just make sure that you are importing it from apache.py, okay, not google.common, okay. So apache py. Okay, now once this is done, then the next thing we have to do is we have to set our cell value in the cell that we have created. So cell dot set cell value, okay, set cell value, and we have like multiple things here. So let's set a string cell value, okay, in this one. So the first one is let us give something like what are looking db test something, okay. So db test, okay. And once this is done, okay, let me create like another cell here, which is, okay, I have just copied this one, okay. Just I'm copying, just okay, I'm creating another cell, cell 1, and I'm just saying that it is pass, okay. So we have created two cells within this sheet, okay. So now the next thing is we have to use file output stream, and then, okay, we have to give a name to this one. So I'm using the same thing, data slash test results. That means we want to save this entire thing into this one. Okay, let me import this file output string, and also let me import this file. Okay, once this is done, let me add the rows declaration. Okay, so once this is done, then what we have to write this file output stream, whatever we have created, using this write method on the workbook. Okay, so workbook dot write of out. Okay, now it will create this one, but we have to add the throws declaration here. Okay, now this is done, and then what we have to do, we have to close this file output stream, and we have to close this workbook. Okay, so now once we run this one, so under the data, it has to create this test results.xlsx. So we don't have anything like under this data with this name. Okay, so yeah, we don't have like anything. Okay, we already have this test result. So let me create like something, test results one. Okay, so test results one. Let me refresh this one. Okay, we haven't executed this one yet. Okay, so we don't have anything like test results one. So it has to create the workbook with this name and with these values under result sheet. Okay, let me run this one. Run as Java application. Okay, so this is completed. Okay, you can see this red button here. Okay, this button here. So now this is gone, so that means it is completed. Let me refresh this one. So every time like you have to refresh this one whenever you're working with these excel things or anything, you have to refresh this one. So whenever you are creating a new file or anything, like it will come, and I mean, then only you will see. Once you refresh, then only you will see. Okay, so now this test results one.xls is created. Let me open this one, open with system editor. Okay, so you can see that it has created db test and it is pass. Okay, so this is how we can create a new workbook and write the data into that. Okay, any questions on this one? Do you guys like and understand? Just create a workbook object and create a sheet. Okay, and using create sheet, create row, and create cell methods, we create like all the different sheets, rows and cells, and using set cell value method, we will add values to the cell. Once that is done, then we will use file output stream, okay, and we use workbook.write method to create the actual, like the new workbook with the values. Okay, any questions on this one? Okay.
So this is like, yeah, in every header, like if you are printing a header, then how you will put the value inside that header? Like
That
we
means
have to.
you have like an existing Excel sheet. Let me show you that one. So let us say like we have this resources. Okay, I'm opening this one in system editor. So we have this resources. Okay, like test case, first name, last name, so like this. And you want to like put some value under these headers, right? That means under the first name, I want to enter
Yeah.
something. Under last name, we want to. That's the one we will be seeing it in our next example. Okay.
Okay.
So far, like we have seen how to create an entirely new sheet and write data into that. Okay. So now we will see like how to write data into an existing Excel workbook. Okay. That's what like we will be seeing now. But do you guys like understand this one, the existing one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's say this one. Let's see this one. So here, like we have these different employees here, right? So let us say for these employees, okay, I would like to set the salary. I would like to set the salary here. Okay, that means I want to enter data into the existing workbook. Okay, for example, for the employee under first row, okay, that means index 1, I want to set the salary to say to a different value under this one. Okay, so how to do that? Okay, so for that one, let me go back here. Okay, for this one, what we have to do is, since we have to open an existing workbook, again we have to use file input stream. Okay, file input stream, and we will open that one. For example, this one resources.xlsx. Okay, we are opening this one. Okay, and in the workbook object we are passing this file input stream. Okay, and then we are going to that particular sheet. In our case it is sheet 1, and then we are going to that particular first row, because the thing is that if you want to enter the data under this particular salary column, first you have to know like what this column is, right? What is the index of this column? Okay, for example, this is 0 1 2 3 4 5, right? You have to know the index of this salary column. Okay, then in the first row you can enter the value under that column index. Okay, so for that one, what we'll do is, first we will go to this particular row, the first row, which is our headers, where we have the headers. Okay, and then we have defined like something like actual column. This is nothing but the column index. We have defined this initially as 0, and some boolean value column found is equal to false. Okay, and then we will iterate over the row to get each and every cell, and we will verify this one, whether the column name is salary or not. Okay, we'll just use like the same thing, while cells has next. Okay, and we'll get the string cell value, and the if the cell value is equals to salary, then we are making this actual column to the actual column index. Okay, by using cell dot get column index, so that we will get 5 here. Okay, we'll get the sorry, we'll get the column index as 5 here. So once we get the column index as 5, then we are just making this column found is equal to true, and then we are breaking out of that loop. Okay, once now we know that like okay, the column index is 5. Once that is done, then we will use like file output stream. Okay, first we are opening with using file input stream to find out like what that column index is, and then we are opening a file output stream because we have to write the data okay, and then we are using data/resources.xlsx, and then we are using get row of 1. That means we are getting this row. Now once we get this row, then we will use set cell value, okay, and then we will get the actual cell by creating a cell under this, okay, row output dot create cell. We are passing this actual column, which is 5 in this case, and then we are setting this our cell value, and then we are writing the entire data to workbook, and then we are closing it. Okay, do you understand this one? See, first I want to set a value under this salary column in this first row, where row index is 1. Okay, so what I have to know? First I have to know what this column index is, right? Salary. So in this case, column index is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I have to know that, like, where this salary column is. I have to know that salary column index. So for that one, what I have to do? First I will open this work object. Okay, first I will create a file input stream, and then I will create this workbook object by passing that file input stream. Okay, and then I will access this first row. I will loop over each cell and check it to see, like, which cell has this salary value salary, and then using get cell index, okay, I will get the index of this cell. Okay, so now I know that the index is 5. Okay, now I will close that one, and then I will open a file output stream. Okay, and then I will create a cell with index 5 on row number 1, and then I will set this value, and I will write this one, and then I will close it. You got this one, Ankur? Like, any questions on this one, Ankur or Suman or anyone? Any questions on this?
No,
one?
sir.
Okay.
There.
Yeah, let me
No.
yeah, let's do this one. Okay, so existing Excel. So let me open this one. So the first thing, that we have to do is, okay. So the first thing that I have to do is I have to create a file input stream. File input stream FIS is equal to new file input stream of data slash resources dot xlsx. Okay. So I have created a file input stream. Okay, and then the next thing that I have to do is I have to create a workbook object, SSF. Okay, workbook is equal to new XSSF workbook of FIS. Okay, I have created a workbook object, and then I have to access the sheet. Okay, so XSSF sheet is equal to new workbook dot get sheet, okay, at index 0. Okay, so we are getting the sheet object, or, like, we can get sheet at, you can pass, like, this one, or, like, you can pass it like the sheet. Okay, so now we got this one. Now what we have to do, we have to get the first row, which is row number row index is 0, where we have all our headers. Okay, so I'll say row equals to, okay, sheet dot get row of 0. That means the first row we are getting. Now what, let me import this one, import row. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to find the actual column index. Okay, how do we get that one? We have to create an iterator on this row. Okay, so iterator of cell, okay, cells equals to row dot iterator. Okay, so we have created an iterator here. Okay, so let me import this iterator from java.it. Okay, now once this is done, then we will use as next method, and this one we will create a while loop and cells dot as next. When we have this one cells dot as next, then we have to read the value from the cell. So I'll say cell is equal to, okay, cells dot next. Okay, now we'll come to this. Now we have to use we have to get the value from the cell. So how do we get the value from the cell? We have to create a data formatter using data formatter. So before this one, I will create the data formatter object. Okay, data formatter df equals to new data formatter. Okay, I have created a data formatter object. So let me import this data formatter. Okay, so now what I will do, I will say sorry. Okay, now I'll say string cell value equals to df dot format cell value of cell. Okay, so now we will get this cell value. Okay, now I have to check like if this cell value is salary. Okay, then I can get the index on this one. Okay, so I'll say if, okay, so how do we compare like two strings? How do we compare like two strings?
Equals ignore.
Equals or equals ignore case. So we'll use equals, okay, ignore case, and then in our case like what is this one? This is salary, right? So let me copy this one. Okay, equals ignore case salary. Okay, if it is salary, then we will say we will get the actual column index. What I will do is like I will create like something like here like int actual column. Okay, int actual column is equal to initially I am making it as 0. Okay, and then here I'll say actual column equals to cell dot get column index. So now I'm getting this actual column index. Okay, so once I get this one, okay, I don't need to go through like everything else. I don't need to go through everything else. So what I can do is I can simply break. Okay, if the column index value is this one, okay, if the column index uh, if the cell value is salary, like just get the column index and then just break this one. Okay, you don't need to go through the remaining columns because you already got this salary index. You don't need to go through each and every one after this one and check like if it is salary or not, because we already got it here. Okay, so now just break this one. Okay, so now once you break this one, now we got the actual column index where we have to put our value. Okay, now let us close this file input stream that we have created. So fis dot close. Okay, until this point you got it right. We have just like opened the existing sheet, and we are getting the actual column index value where we have to input our data. Okay, okay, now this is done. Now since we have to write our data, we have to open a file output stream. Okay, file output stream f I will say like fys equals to new file output stream of, again the same thing, like data slash resources dot xlsx. Okay, so we have created a file output stream. Now once we created this one, now we already have this workbook object and also the sheet object that we have. Okay, but we want to enter our value in row index 1. This is row index 1, this is row index 0, and this is row index 1. Okay, so let us access this row index 1. Okay, so how do we get this one? So this is row, and I'll say like row output equals to, we already have the sheet object dot get row of 1. That means now we got row 1. In the row 1, okay, we have to create a new cell at this point. Okay, we have to create a new cell at this point. So we already know the column index. So how we can do this one? We can use like cell output. Let us say cell output equals to row output dot create cell, and it takes like int column index. So we'll say create cell of what is that column index? It is actual column in our case. So it is already showing it here. So actual column. Now we have created a new cell at this point. Okay, and now what we can do is cell output dot set cell value, and I'm putting like some string value, let us say 34,000. Okay, so now under that particular salary for the first row we are putting this set cell value. Okay, now once this is done, what do we have to do? We have to write this one. Okay, so workbook dot write of FOS. Once this is done, we can close this file output stream, and also we can close the workbook object. Okay, so now let us okay, this is one problem here. When you are writing to an existing workbook, you have to make sure that that workbook is not in open state. Okay, you have to make it. If it is open, like you cannot write data into this one. So now let me show you this one. Okay, this workbook is open. Okay, let me run this one and see like what error you will get. Okay, see, it is saying something like, okay, the file java.io.file data slash resources.xlsx cannot be found. File not found exception it is throwing. The process cannot access the file because it is yeah. So it is saying something like, okay, the process cannot access, but it should not be like, okay, what will see? Process cannot access the file because it is being used by another process. Okay, and the error is write data into existing Excel 47. So this is where like we are getting this error saying that, okay, the process cannot access the file because it is being used by another process. Because we have opened this one, that's why it is giving this error. Let me close this one. Okay, close this one. Let me close this vehicles also. Okay, okay, fine. Let me run this one again. Okay, see, now this is done. Okay, we have like we didn't get any error here. So let me refresh this one just. Okay, I'm refreshing this one, and then this resources.excel. Let me open this one. Open with system editor. Okay, see, we are seeing like 34,000 here. 34,000. Okay, you got this one? Are any questions? Like you can update this value and you can see this one. Okay,
So like what is that? It is asking us to close that. I know that, please.
yeah, so that's what the problem is like with Excel. Not only with Excel, but any file when you are writing something to a file, whether it's a notepad file or any file it is, or an Excel file, anything. Okay, when it is open, it cannot write the data into that Excel that open. You have the Excel or any file, it should be in a closed state. Okay.
Okay. So any specific reason for that, or like it's just an like
it is okay. When it is opened, that means you are already using that Excel. You are already using that Excel. Okay. When you are okay, if you okay, let me how can I tell it? Okay. So yeah, generally like in your companies, okay, if you have an Excel file in a shared folder, okay,
yeah.
and if somebody else has opened that one, Okay, already opened. And when you try to open it, what error it will give? It will say that somebody else is using. Do you want me to open it in a read state?
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah, got it.
Okay, so it will ask you to open it in a read state, not in a write mode. It will tell you that do you want it to be opened in a read only mode. So you can open it only in a read only mode. Just like that, if you open an Excel sheet here, that means you are already using it, and the program cannot open it in a write mode
Okay.
because you are trying
So
to write it. Yeah.
one more question is that like whether it's possible us for to do the same operations in the Google Sheet as well?
Google Sheet, I'm not sure because we haven't done this one. But I think for Google Sheets there might be a different library. This is for Microsoft workbooks.
Okay,
Okay,
got it.
this Apache POI is for Microsoft documents, not for Google Sheets. And I mean, we haven't tried writing it to a Google Sheets there. But you can check that one. Just search it in Google to see if there is any library available for writing data into the Google Sheets. Definitely,
Okay.
there should be something. Definitely. Okay,
Okay. So
just check that one. Okay, but
okay.
now
Thank you.
do you understand how to write the data into an existing sheet? Okay,
Yes,
first
sir.
you have to find out the cell index wherever you want to write. So here I want to update the data under the column salary. Okay, so I am finding out the index of this one by opening it in a by using it like in a file input string and opening the workbook. Once I got this one, once I got the index of that one, then I'm opening it I'm creating a file output string, and then I'm creating a new cell at that place, and I'm writing that one to the workbook, and finally I'm closing this one. That's the only difference between this one and the previous one, which is creating a new workbook. Okay. Okay, so
One question is there like
yeah,
instead of creating a new cell, why don't we deleting the old cell and or replacing the old value with the new value?
we don't have anything like replacing an existing value with the new one. See, what we are doing is basically we are opening that one, and at that particular point we are creating a new cell. And when we create a new cell, it means that we are replacing the existing one only, right? We are replacing the existing cell with a new cell basically.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And any other questions on this one?
No, super. Thank you.
Okay, so this is how we use Excel's in our automation script. But generally writing data to an Excel sheet is very rare. Okay, we never write any data to an Excel sheet or anything like that. It's very rare unless you are creating a kind of number of accounts, new user accounts, where you have to store the usernames and passwords that you are using. In those cases you may write, but I mean, uh, in my experience so far, I haven't created
Or you
written.
can say that it is more feasible to write the same thing in an Excel while sending it through Java.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that one. What is that?
I think it is more feasible to write directly on the Excel rather than giving it commands on Java Selenium to write the data into Excel sheets, I guess.
I mean, it's very rare actually. That writing data into an Excel. I mean, in our automation scripts, mostly
Yeah.
we will read the data from the Excel for the data-driven testing. If you want to pass multiple sets of data, then so this one until this point, where we have created a separate class for reading the data into a map and use that map in your automation script. This is what we do. Okay, but
Okay.
practice all these things. Okay, if you practice all these things, then you'll be good. Okay, and now coming to the interview questions, the most of the interview questions on this one, are like how do you do data driven testing in Selenium, okay, or how do you like read data from an Excel sheet, okay.
So,
Mostly the questions will be like that only.
so for this answer, we have to explain the whole program for them, right? That
Not
first we have
not
to
not
create an,
not, not the whole program, okay. See, I'll show you. Can you briefly explain the steps involved in reading data from an Excel file? This is what, like, mostly you'll get this question, okay. So here what we'll do is, okay, so first we will create a workbook object, and then we'll create from the workbook object we'll create a sheet object, and then we'll get access to the all the rows of the sheet, and we'll iterate over the sheet to get access to all the rows, and then we'll iterate over each row and we'll get access to the cell. Once we get access to the cell, we can use uh, this data formatter to read each value as a string, and generally we store it into a map. Access all data from cells into, not arrays actually, it's a map, okay. And then we use that map in our automation script. That's what you have to say. You don't, I mean, explaining the program means explain it in a way that, okay, so we'll create a workbook object, and then we'll create a sheet object, and then we'll iterate over the sheet to get access to all the rows, and on each row we'll iterate again to get access to all the cells, and we use a data formatter object to read each and every value of the cell, and then we read it into a map. Basically the keys of the map are the column names, okay, and the values of the map are the actual values in each row, okay, and we can use that map in our automation scripting. You understand, like, how to explain this one when somebody asks you, like, what can you briefly explain what the steps involved in reading the data from an Excel file?
yes.
Okay, so this is how you have to explain. Okay, let me come from here. So what API do you use for reading data from an Excel? It is Apache POI API. Okay, and what dependencies you need to run Apache POI test from Maven? It is POI and POI OOXML. These are the two dependencies we have used initially, if you remember. Okay, so we have already discussed this one. Can you briefly explain the steps involved in reading data from an Excel file? Okay, these are the steps. Let me have to explain these steps. Okay, how do you create an object for access? Is very rare, like, how do you create an object for XSS workbook? First we will create a file input stream, and then we will create an object by passing this file input stream object to the XSS of workbook constructor. Okay, this is how do you create, how do you get access to a sheet? By using the get sheet method on the workbook object, okay. And how do you get access to a particular row? By using get row method on the sheet object. And how do you get access to a particular cell? By using get cell method on the row object, okay. How do you write data to an Excel sheet? So it's very rare, but like I just like explain this procedure. First we will create a workbook object, and then we will create a sheet using create sheet method on the workbook object, and then we will create a row by using the index of the row on the sheet object, and then we can use create cell method, and we can use the set cell value method on the cell, and we can say, write different values into those cells. Finally we will use file output stream object, and we'll create the new Excel workbook, okay. But it's very rare, like, the only question that you will be asked 99% of the times is just, can you explain the steps involved in reading data from an Excel file? How do you read the data from an Excel file? Okay, this is what you have to explain them. Okay, any questions on this one? Everyone, like, do you guys like understand now, like, this is important, because almost like all the projects we use this data driven testing.
Yes, so it is clear.
Okay, so just practice this one, then you will be good. Okay, so now this Excel reading is completed. Now let's move into the next topic, which is, okay, let's go into this extent reports. Okay, so whenever we write these automation scripts, okay, you need to have like some kind of a reporting. Reporting means what are the test cases passed, what test cases failed. So all these things you should have a report, so that if your upper management asks you about the report, you can send this report. Okay, so we have something called some reports that we use generally. One of them is extent reports. Most of the projects they use this extent reports. Okay, so this one we need to know how to configure this one. Once you know how to configure this one, it is very easy to generate these reports. Okay, so we have this site extentreports.com. Just go to this one, this extent reports. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, so you can go through these extent reports site to see what they are providing. Basically we have different versions of this extent reports, like version 5, version 4, version 2. So these are the older versions. The new version is version 5, and again they are providing it for Java, .NET and all these things. Let's go into this Java documentation. Okay, once we go into this one, so these are all the different documentation that we have. They're explaining the breaking changes between the previous ones and the current ones and all these things. Okay, so we have to know how to use. You can go through this documentation where it explains you how to use these external reports. Okay, we'll be discussing the same in this class. Okay, so now let us go through this one. So external reports are used for reporting in Selenium. Okay, the site is this one. There are different versions of external reports available, and the latest version is 5. Okay, so this is what we have seen, and each version comes with support for Java, .NET, etc. And go to the documentation of Java external reports. The different reports available are event, email, cloud, and Spark. Okay, so if you go here, we have different reports available. See, so this is event, email, cloud, and Spark. Okay, so these two are pro versions. That means where we need to pay. The company has to pay if they want to have these reports, but people mostly use the Spark reports. Okay, so if you go to this Spark reports, okay, this is where it will show you how to set up this one. So we'll see the Spark reports in this one. Okay, event reports, event and email are pro versions, cloud and Spark are free version. Okay, extent reports use logger style. Extent reports use logging style to add information about test scenarios, such as creation of tests, adding screenshots, assigning tags, and adding events or series of steps to sequentially indicate the flow of steps. We will come to this one, how to use this logging style. We'll see this one. Okay. So okay. So see, basically these are different reports, and in case in case in future, if you get a new report, all you have to know is how to set up that one in your automation scripts. This one shows you about one kind of particular reports, which is extent reports, that too Spark reports within extent reports. Okay, but in case in your projects in future, if you get some new report, for example, in one of my previous projects, we have used one particular framework, and that particular framework has a different kind of reporting mechanism. So all we have to know is how to set up that framework, that particular reporting in our project. Okay, so this is the only thing. And generally interview questions, you won't get any interview questions on this reporting thing, but people will ask you, okay, do you know anything about reporting, how do you do the reporting in our automation script? You can say that, yes, I know about extent reports. Okay, I have used extent reports. Okay, they won't ask you anything how do you set up this extent reports, or how do you do the reporting using external reports, nobody will ask you, because the reporting structure might change from project to project. In one project you will use like this external reports, in another project you use a different kind of reporting. Okay, different framework altogether, where you have to know how to set up that reporting in that project. You got the point here, everyone?
Yes, Subbu.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
no one will ask you like on this reporting, okay, explain me like how do you report, how do you use logging style. No one will ask you, because reports will change from project to project. In one project you will use this external, in another project you will use some other reports. Okay, so all you have to know is like you know one of these reportings. Okay, and if in the interviews, if someone asks you, okay, what kind of like reports you have used in your project, you can say that, okay, yes, I have used like extent reports in my project. I know about extent reports. Okay, I know how to configure that one. That's all you have to say. Okay, okay. Now coming to the extent reports, like we have to again, like we have to have a dependency in our form.xml. So let's go into Google, okay, and check for this dependency. Okay, I'm going into Google, Maven extent reports dependency. Okay, so if you go into Maven extent reports dependency, okay, so these are all the different reports we have. Okay, but if you see, these are all like older versions. This artifact was moved to extend reports. Now it is moved to a new path here. So these 2 point means these are all like old versions. If we go into extend reports here, see, these are all the latest versions that we have, and we are using version 5. 5 is the latest one. Okay, so 5.0.9, let me see, like yeah, 5.0.9. Okay, let me copy this same thing, or like you can also like go here and you can copy this one. Okay, let me copy this one and let me go into this form.xml. So where is my form.xml? Okay, so this is my form.xml. I'm going into here, and then under the dependencies, okay, let me save this one. So it is building the project. Okay, now it is done. Okay, so we have included this dependency, form.xml dependency. Now sorry, we can start working with this one. Okay, so what is the first thing that you have to do? Okay, while creating a report, the first thing you have to do is you have to create an object for this extent reports. Okay, and then you have to create an object for extent spark reporter. Okay, and this extent spark reporter, it needs the place, I mean the folder path where you want to store the report. So here I'm saying that like target slash spark.html. This is what I'm saying. That means I'm creating a report under this folder target under our project. Okay, and then we have to attach this spark object to this extent object, extent dot attach reporter spark. Okay, so these are the first three things that we have to do. First, create an object for extent reports, and then create an object for extent spark reporter by passing the path where we want to store the report, then attach the extent spark reporter object to extent reporter object. Okay, so these are the three things we have to do. Okay, now let me do one thing. Let me, we have already like created a few scripts for this one, right? The car rental. uh, yeah, so we have created this one. We have created a navigation bar check, and then okay, so let's take this one, this car rental pages. Let us take this one. Okay, so and Okay, we are directly using this driver.find element, like we are not using the page object model here. So I think we have created car rental pages somewhere. Okay, and so we are using the page object model. So let's take this one. Okay, so what we are doing here basically, so in this one, the car rental pages, we are just going through different pages. The first one is we are going to the home page and we are verifying that okay, that home page is displayed successfully, and then we are going to about us page, and then we are checking this one. Okay, let's take this one. Let us implement our extent reports on this one. Okay, and we have created this one using the page object model, and the page object model, like this is a home page, right? Let me go here. Okay, so the page under package new pages, we have all the objects. So let me create a new package under this one. Okay, uh, the new package is, let us say, extent reports. Okay, under this extent reports, I'm copying this car rental pages. Okay, let me copy this car rental pages to this extent reports. Okay, fine. Okay, so now under this extent reports, let me close everything else here, close all. Okay, so okay, so we have created a script here where it goes through each and every page and it verifies that the page is displayed successfully. Let me run this one just to make sure that it is running successfully before implementing extent reports. Okay, so this is working fine. Any questions until this point? We have just taken our existing script and we have just executed this one. Okay, any questions on this one so far? Okay, fine. Now let me go. So the first thing, we have already, like, got this dependency, okay, into our pom.xml. So we are ready to implement our extend reports. Okay, so the first thing is we have to create an extend reports object, and then we have to create a Spark object, and we have to give the path where we want to store this one, and then we have to attach this Spark object to this extend reports object. So let me copy this one and let me go here. So before starting this one, what I will do is I will just, let me simply use this one. Okay, so let me import this one, import extend reports from event stack. Okay, and then import extend spark reporter from this one. Okay, so what we have done, we have created an object for this extend reports and also the spark reporter, and we are giving this one target. Okay, instead of, like, target here, like, yeah, we can leave this one, like, because we have already a target folder here, or you can rename to anything that you want. Okay, so once we run this one, we will see under this one, under the target folder, we will see the report. Okay, now once this is done, the next thing that we have to do is we have to use something like, okay, we have created an extent, right? Extent dot create test, this one, some extent reports test, or anything. You have to create a new test here. So let me copy this one. Okay, so here I'll say, okay, extent test is equal to import extent test. Okay, so we are creating a new test here, extent reports test. We will see this one in our report, saying that, okay, or you can say, instead of, like, an extent reports test, I'll say here car rental, okay, pages display test. That means I'm testing, I'm just giving a name to my test here. Okay, until this point we have seen, like, where to store our report, and now here we are giving a name to our test, saying that, okay, this is my car rental pages display test. That means I am making sure that all my car rental pages are displayed properly. Once this is done, then this is the logging mechanism that we use to write data into our report. Okay, sorry, so we'll say, like, test dot log. Okay, this is the test object, like, that we have created in the previous step, and then we use log method, and then we use status dot pass or status dot fail, and we write the actual result here. Okay, so let me show you this one. So I'll say here, okay, if it is this home, okay, so here we are navigating to this home page link. Okay, so I'll say test.log, okay, and then I have to use status, okay, status.pass, status.pass, and here we have to give, okay, navigated to home page, okay, navigated to home page, okay, and let me copy the same thing, okay, and then here I'll say status, okay, I think like it should be capital status.pass. Okay, yeah, import status from com. This one, okay, just make sure that you are importing like all these things from the corresponding one. So here like we have to import it from extend reports. Okay, so let me copy this one. Okay, so status pass navigated to, and the next one is about us page. Okay, and the next one is car listings page, car listing page. Okay, and the next one is tax page. Okay, and the next one is contact us page. Okay, so now we have written like some data into our report. Okay, because this is what like I wanted to make sure that like I'm navigating to all the pages. Okay, so I have written like all these steps into my report. Okay, now all these steps will be reported in the report. Okay, now once this is done, this test is done, finally we have to flush this one. That means flush means it will, once you use this one, then it will create the report. So once everything is done, then I will use extend dot flush. Okay, so this is how you use extend reports. Let me run this one. So right now, look under target. If I refresh this one, yeah, I don't have anything under this target. Okay, let me run this one and see if it creates the report or not. Okay, so it is it executed successfully. Let me refresh this one. Okay, yeah, so now it created spark.html. Let me open this one. Okay, open it with system editor. Okay, see, now it has created the report, and it is the test, like the test name that we have given here, car rental pages display test. It is coming here, car rental pages display test. Okay, now these are all the different steps that you are reporting into this one. Navigated to home page, navigated to about us page, navigated to car listing page, navigated to facts page, navigated to contact us page. Okay, so this is the report structure for extend reports. And here, like if you see, like it will display it in this as a list item. And if you see this one, it will display the graph. I mean the bar chart, not the bar chart. This is the pie chart. Okay, the pie chart also, like one test passed, 0 test failed, 0 skipped, and 0 others. So 5 events passed. That means we are logging in like 5 steps into the report, right? So it is saying that 5 steps passed, test passed, and all these things, and the time and everything. You'll see this. Okay, so you'll get like all the tests here. Okay, so you understood this one, like how to do the basic reporting using extend reports. Are any questions, everyone?
Yes, yes. But actually, what we are doing, we are storing the result output of
Yeah.
every part, right, on that particular folder.
Yes, yes. It's basically reporting. Like, if someone asks you, not only, let's say, like, you have 100 scripts, you have developed automation scripts. Okay. how do you know that, like, which scripts passed and which scripts failed, or where exactly, like, it failed? How do you know that one? You understand? So
Yeah, got it.
basically it's the reporting. See, in your manual testing also, how do you know that, like, which test case is passed? You'll maintain some report, a Excel report, saying that, okay,
Yeah.
these are all my test cases, and this test case passed, this test case failed, and this failed test cases I have to retest them again. So just like that, this is the reporting for this one, for automation.
Okay.
Okay, so
So,
yeah,
so we have to include that logic for the reporting in the scripting itself,
yeah.
then creating the objects like multiple times, or do we use page layout or anything in
No,
this one
yeah,
as
yeah.
well?
We'll come to that, like, in the future topics. Okay, right now,
Okay.
since we are executing, like, only one test case at a time. Okay,
Mhm.
we are
Mm.
creating these objects for each and every test we are creating. But in future, like,
Okay.
we're having something called test ng. Okay, in using test ng, we will run like multiple scripts without any human intervention. For example, here in this case, if you see, we have, like, these different tests, right? Like the car rental, not this one, car rental pages, new one that will help me. What is no? Yeah, so if you see this one, this current page, navigation bar, check register, new user, all these things, these are, like, different tests here. Okay, and
Mm.
if you want to run,
Mm.
you have to. Currently, we are executing each and every one individually. We are going right clicking on this one, Java
Mm.
run as Java application, like that. Right click on the next one, run as Java application, like this. Okay, we are
Okay.
executing this one individually. That's why, like, I have shown you, like, at this moment we are creating objects individually for each one, but in future we
Okay.
will be having something called test ng. Okay, and in the test ng we will see how to execute, like, without any manual intervention. We can execute, like, all these test cases one by one.
Okay.
Okay,
Got it. Got it.
first it will
Okay.
start this
We'll
one.
wait for that.
Yeah, and then it will start this one, and then it will start this one. So in those cases, we create, like, one common object, like, for that one, and we'll use that common object for everything. But generally, this test, like, since this is different for each and every test, we have to use this test object, like, separately for this one. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, but you
Thank you.
understand, like, the basic structure, like, how we create the reports, how we use the extend reports. Basically, what you have to do is you have to create a first extend reports object, and then extend spark reporter object you have to create, where it takes the path for where you want to store your report, and then you have to attach this spark object to this extend reports. Okay, once this is done, then what you have to do, you have to create a test object, extend test object, where you give a name, some name to your test. Here I'm giving it like car rental display test. Okay, and then I'll use test.log method. This test method, like, I have created, right? So I will use log method on top of that, and I'll use like status.pass or fail, and then I'll say, like, navigated to home page. Okay, so here, like, this home page header is displayed, right? So I can also write it like, okay, Control C, Control E. Okay, here I can say home page verified successfully. Generally, like, we don't use system.out.println, like, anywhere in our automation scripts. So we write this home page verified successfully in our status method. I mean, in our reports. Okay, which tells you, okay, this is verified, like, successfully. Similarly, we use here, okay, about us page verified successfully. Okay, similarly here we will use car listing verified successfully. Okay, similarly we use Fax page verified successfully. And this one, contact us page verified successfully. Okay, let me run this one more time. Run it, the application. Okay, this is done. Let me go here. Okay, let's press this one. Okay, then navigate to homepage. Homepage verified successfully. Navigate to about us page. About us page verified successfully. So this is how we'll report everything. Okay. So do you understand this one?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the basic reporting. Okay. Now let me see, like something.
This report is like useful to us, or like what within what context we are using it, basically to report it to any senior person, or to just
Okay. In
like
your in,
keep
your-
us
in your
informed.
in your manual testing, okay, where do you use your manual test report statuses?
Like in test cases basically.
Yeah, in test cases, but like how where do you use like those reports? Generally, like to show
They
it
for
to your
ourselves.
lead, like your lead may ask you, like okay, what is your status, or your manager may ask you, like what is your status. So
Yeah.
how do you report them the status? Basically, in an Excel sheet, saying that okay, so these are the
Mhm.
test cases I have to execute, and out of
Mhm.
these test cases, I have executed these many test cases so far, and these are passed and these are failed. So that's where you
Mhm.
present them. Basically, in a mail, if your manager like asks you in a mail, okay, what is your status, you reply to the mail either like attaching the Excel sheet or
Mhm.
directly putting it in the mail in a tabular format, showing
Mhm.
them like what you have done so far, right? The same way,
Yes.
like for reporting purpose, basically why do we use reports? For reporting it to the higher management, saying that okay, these are like this is what is executed, so many tests are passed, so many tests are failed, and we are looking into the failed ones, like why they failed, whether that is a real defect or it's a problem with the script, anything.
Okay.
Only it's for the reporting
Like,
purpose, that's all.
like for every build we have to change that kind of that folder, no? Because every time that we are executing this, that folder will get updated.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. So what
Yeah.
you can do is like generally here like I have create, okay, let me show you that one also. Okay, see here I'm storing it like in this one. So every time this will be updated, right? That's what you are saying. Every time this will be updated, right? So I can create a dynamic
Yes.
folder, dynamic report here. I don't need to change the folder, but I can create a dynamic report here. How do I create a dynamic report? I can use the timestamp for this one, right? I can use a timestamp. If I use the timestamp here, something like spark underscore some timestamp, then my
Mhm.
report won't be overridden, overwritten here.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
how do I do that? Just go on Google. Okay. So
Mhm.
I'll say that I'll just go to Google. I'll just go to Google and I'll say something like how to get the current timestamp in Java. How to get the current timestamp? Okay, in I'll say in Unix format, Unix format in Java. Okay, so I can use current time millis method. Use Java was to use the system and current time. Let's go Unix timestamp in Java. Let's go into this and system dot current time millis method. Okay, and method, this method returns the number of milliseconds that have elapsed since the epoch time. From there you can just use simply like division by 1000 to get the seconds. So let's not like use the seconds, just use this system dot milliseconds and see like what it returns. Okay, I'll go here. I won't do anything in this one. I'm just like saying like commenting this one. I'll say just system dot out dot println system dot current time in millis. Let me run this one, run a Java application, and see it is printing like some number 1671. If I run it again, okay, 7393. It is increasing, right? Because time in millis means time like always the milliseconds like always change. So it will always create a new number. Okay. Now what I will do is okay. So now let me draw this one, and here I will say you got this one. I will say spark underscore. Okay. In the target folder, I'm creating the report as spark underscore, and I am using the time in milliseconds dot html. I'm just attaching this number to this one. So every time it will create a new report for me. Okay. So let me run this one, run as Java application, and let's see how it works. Okay. So now let me refresh this one. See, it created a new report, spark underscore 1576157. Let me run it one more time. Run as Java application. Okay, let me refresh this one. See, it created another one. You got this one? So this
Yes,
is
Subbu.
how so this basically how you use your uh, Java knowledge to work with the automation reports. That's all. Okay. Okay. So this is the basic way of creating a report. Okay. Now we have something called with each and
So,
every. Yeah.
so what is this value like 1674007576157?
This is the system current time in milliseconds.
Okay.
Because I don't want to override overwrite my existing report. I want to keep like all the existing reports. So I'm just simply attaching the timestamp current time in milliseconds to this report, so that every time it will create a new report here every time when I execute this one.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think there will be also a method to convert this milli time after like milliseconds into real time because
Why do you want to do that one? Or
because I think
I- if you want to see like the actual date here, right?
hmm
If you want to see the actual date, like I just showed you one way of how to create a new report each
yeah,
time.
the idea I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, then you have to use a different way here. You can create the
Yeah.
date here, okay, and then you
hmm
can attach the date to this report, so that you can see the actual date.
Yeah.
Okay, you can try that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Subbu.
Okay. So now we have this one. We have this basic report created. Okay. Now you understood this one. So we have something like how to create using how to take the screenshots. That's one thing we have to see. Oh, but I will explain this one. We'll see this one tomorrow. Extend reports with the screenshots. Okay, how do you take screenshots in this one? Okay, uh, so basically there are two methods for adding screenshots. Okay, one is base 64 screenshot and hard path screenshots. Do you know anyone, does anyone know what is a base 64 screenshots?
No, so
Okay,
no, no.
so generally, what happens is when you have something, some image. Let me see. Is this an image? No, this is not an image. This is a text. Uh, what is what is the newspaper like that we have seen earlier in one of our programs? It is BBC, right? BBC.com. Let's go.
Yeah, BBC.
let's go into this one. See, this is an image basically. Like if I go into this one, okay, this is an image basically. So if I inspect this image, it is clearly telling you that, okay, it is clearly telling you that copy image, save images. So this is an image. If you inspect this one, okay, see, it is with, see, this one is with image tag, image alt is equal to, and the source set is equal to, yeah, it is giving like, some source set, and finally you are seeing something like hyphen 12 see 12462 something, and then .jpg. Okay, that means it is stored somewhere like, on the server. Okay, and it is showing that one, it is stored somewhere on the server, and it is showing that image here on this page. You got this one? This is a hard coded path. Okay, so that is hard path screenshot. Here the screenshots will be saved to hard drive, and we have to provide the path of the screenshots. So this is a hard path screenshot. You got this one? The hard path screenshots. So where like, you have to store the images in the JPG format or something, just like this, like in our car rental execution. We go here. Okay, yeah. In this one, in the vehicle posting, we are uploading the images here. If you see, we are uploading the images from here, right? That means we are having the physical paths of the images, and we are using those physical paths to show it on the screen. For example, if I go here, okay, and then if I go to car listings, okay, so these are all my like, car listings, and if I inspect this one, this is basically a physical path. You see, this image source is admin images, vehicle images, and that means on the under the admin folder, under the images folder, under the vehicle images folder, it is stored here with this name, rare-3-4 left-something .jpg. Okay, so this is the physical hard path image. Okay, that means we have a clear path for that one. That base 64 is encoding, is a way to encode binary data in ASCII text. Here here there won't be any images stored on the hard drive. That means we will take this image, okay, and we will convert that image into ASCII text. Okay, so once we convert that one, we will get a large string basically, and we will use that string in the HTML to show the screenshot. That means we won't be having like, any kind of like an image stored on the hard drive, but we will be having the image itself in a string format in ASCII text, and we will use that large string to show the image on the screen. Okay, those are base 64 screenshots. Okay, so we have these two image types that we can show in the reports. Okay, for base 64 images, okay, once we use this test.log, we can use add screen capture from base 64 string method, okay, to show the image, but we have to pass this base 64 code string to this one, so that it will show the image here. Okay, and if you want to add a title, you can add a title here, title for the image. Okay, similarly, but if we use add screen capture from base 64 string, they will attach the images at the end of the report. If we want to attach it at the step level, then we have to use test.log and then pass off this method, media entity builder dot create screen capture from base 64 string. Okay, and we have to pass this base 64 method. Okay, so these are the two methods that we have to attach a base 64 image at the end of the report or at the step level. We'll see them. Okay. You don't need to remember all these things actually, but keep this document with you. Okay, and whenever you need to use this one, just refer to this document. Okay, you don't have to remember all these methods and all these things. Okay, but I'll show you how to use these methods. So you have to understand how we are using, and in case in future if you have to work on this, no one will ask you how do you create a base 64 image, how do you capture a screenshot in external reports, but they may ask you how to take a screenshot. We'll see that one. Okay, but this is one method where you can attach a screenshot at the end of the report without a title or with a title, or you can attach a screenshot at the step level without title and with the title. You understand this one? This base 64 images. Similarly, okay, and we have to, since we have to pass this base 64 code, we have to use this method to take the screenshot. We will come to this one, how to take the screenshot in the base 64 model. Okay, let me show you this one basically. Okay, let me do this one. Okay, first you have to understand how to take the screenshot. So I'll show you this one first, and tomorrow we'll see how to use this one in our reports. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm using the same thing. So I'll create a okay. I'll create a new. Okay, we already have a common functions class, right? So under the common functions, I'm creating a new class here, which is get screenshots. Okay, get screenshots. Okay, let me under this get screenshots. Okay, I'll capture screenshot. Okay, I'm using this method capture screenshots. Let me copy this one, capture screenshots. Okay, and let me import this one. Let me import this. So import this output type. Okay, so basically what we have to do is we have to use this take screenshot interface. Okay, this take screenshot is an interface. Okay, in this one let me go to earlier we have seen this Excel sheet. Okay, so we earlier are you able to see this one? Are you able to see this? So we have the search context
Yes, we
interface, and then we have a WebDriver interface, and then we have a remote WebDriver class where we have developed all these different driver classes are developed for Firefox driver, Chrome driver, all these things. But since we have seen this one about this JavaScript executor, right? So where we have this one since we are creating an object of this any of these classes Chrome driver, Firefox driver, we of this interface type WebDriver, we cannot directly use this JavaScript executor. So what we are doing when if we want to create an object for this JavaScript executor, we are casting this one to this driver object. JavaScript executor JavaScript JS is equal to, in brackets we are putting this JavaScript executor. If you remember we have seen it in the JavaScript executor. In brackets we are putting this JavaScript executor and we are using driver object. Similarly, we have a take screenshot interface also is there. So this one is for taking the screenshots. So just like what we have done using this JavaScript executor, we have to do the same thing for take screenshot also. Okay, so that is why if you see here take screenshot, I'm creating an object for this one and I am casting this one to the driver object. Okay, so that I can use get a screenshot as method in the take screenshot interface. We have a method get screenshot as. Okay, so take screenshot object dot get screenshot as, and I want to get this one as output type as base64. So it will return me the string for this one. Okay, base64 code it will return me. Okay, and I can use this base64 code in my what is that, in my reports. Okay, let me see how it returns this one. I have to pass the driver object by calling this get screenshots dot. This is a static method I am using, so I can directly call this method using get screenshots dot capture screenshot. Okay, so let me go into here. Okay, I'm just on the home page itself, once I am getting this one. Okay, so once I open this one, yeah, once I open this home page, here itself, I will call this method. Okay, what is that method that I am using? Get screen, get screenshots dot, okay, capture screenshot and pass the driver. Okay, it will return me a string. Okay, string base 64 string equals to this one. Okay, let me print this string. Okay, system.out.println base 64 string. Let me, okay, 64. This is base 64. Okay, let me run this one and see what it prints. Didn't print anything here. String base 64 is equal to get screenshots as screenshots return base 64 code. It is returning the base 64 code. It is not printing anything here. Let me do one thing. Image. Let me do this one. Let me run it one more time. Not sure why it is not printing, but let me see. Flushing and try. We are storing it. Base 64. Okay, let me do one thing here. Let me run this one for my Java application. Let me see it here. System string base 64 string is equal to get screenshots dot capture screenshots. Terminated Java application. Console. The final. Okay, these are the errors, issues. Okay. Okay, I'll see this one, why it is not printing this string. Or let me do one thing. Let me run this add the cross declaration. Okay, something is wrong here. capture this variable. Let me see this one, otherwise like, I can directly, I'm using this method anyhow, so let me use like, one of these methods to capture the screenshot. Okay, so test, I'm using this status.pass, and I'm capturing add screen capture from base 64 string and 6 string base 64 code. Okay, let me use this one, and I will use this screen capture method, and I will say navigated to home page. So instead of this one, I'll say message. So I'll say navigated to home page, and add screen capture from base 64 code string. That's not log. It is saying like string is not identifiable here. Test.log message string base 64 code. So in this one, we have to use this method directly. So capture this one, directly pass this method here. Yeah. Okay. So let me comment this one, and let's see, like it should capture the image in this one now. Okay. Let me Control S, and let me refresh this one. Let me take out, like delete like all these existing reports. Okay. So let me run this one. So now let me refresh this target, refresh. So let me open this one, open with system editor. Yeah. So it is capturing like this image, basically base 64 image. It's a let me inspect this one. See, if you see, like here it is not like showing anything like dot image. Okay, it is, see, if you see this one, this is basically a string, large string. Okay, so this is the base 64 image. You won't see something like image source is equal to somewhere C colon, something like that. You will see something like data colon image slash png, and then base 64 comma, and you'll see a large string. Okay, that means this image itself, you are getting it in a string format. Okay, so we'll see like all these things tomorrow, but do you understand like how to capture the screenshot in the base 64 model? So we are just using the take screenshot interface, and we are creating an object for this take screenshot. Okay, where we are casting this take screenshot interface to the driver, so that we can use get screenshot as method. And the get screenshot as method, we have one parameter that we can pass is output type dot base 64. So if you use this one, that means we can create the base 64 images. Otherwise, like we have something output type, like we can change it so that we can store it on the hard drive also. That we'll see tomorrow. But do you understand like how to take this screenshot for base 64 using base 64 screenshots, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just use this method, like once we use this method, like we have to pass this output to our extend reports. Okay, in the extend reports, like just this is the extend report we have to use. After this one, use add screenshot capture base 64 string, and we are calling this method which returns that base 64, so that it will attach that image to the report. We'll see like other ways of like so this one is like without title, and we can also use a title for this one. Okay, title something like let me see here, like we can use, yeah, in the add screen capture we can add like title also. Title is let's say home page. this is my title. I can add a title also in this one, and if I run this one, run as Java application. It is taking some time here on the home screen because it is taking a screenshot. Okay, so if I refresh this one, so this is my latest report, and if I open this one, open it, system editor. Okay, see, this is my title here. I get a title also, home page for base 64 image. Okay, so here, like, I don't have any title here under this base 64 image, but here I can have title also. Okay, so this is how, like, we can attach the screenshot, but we'll see more about the screenshots tomorrow. But do you understand the basic way of like extent reporting in automation scripts? Everyone? Do you understand the basic way of reporting doing this one?
Yeah.
And also, like, how to take the base 64. We'll see like how to take screenshots and store them on the hard drive. Okay, so that will also be useful for us, like, when we are actually doing the test ng, where if a test case fails all of a sudden in the middle, we can capture the screenshot, like, at that point, and we can store it, like, on the hard drive, so that you can go back to the screenshot and check, like, where exactly it failed. Okay, at those
Okay.
points also it will be useful for us if you know how to take a screenshot. We have seen like only one way of taking a screenshot, where we are using the base 64 way of getting the screenshots. That means we are getting it as a string format, not actual like as an image .jpg or .png, something like that. Okay, we'll see it like tomorrow, and how to use like all these things in our reports. Okay, so by tomorrow, like, we'll finish this extent reports, and then we'll start with log4j. Okay, so what are we left with? Um,
Some of the Java programs is also left, I guess. So Java concepts.
yes, yeah, we'll see them also. Okay, so under Selenium, we are left with. So by tomorrow, this extent reports will be completed, and then we'll start with log4j. Once log4j is completed, then we will go with test ng. Okay, once test ng is completed, then we'll see like Maven. Okay, Maven, like, we are already using that one for dependencies, but we have to see, like, how to execute it from Maven side onwards. Okay, that one we have to see. And then once this is done, then we will see Jenkins. Okay, how to create like CI/CD pipelines, and then we'll see database testing, and finally we'll see frameworks, and then hybrid frameworks project. After that, we have this DDD model. So with that, like, we'll come to this one. Of course, we have like, some of these Java things that we have. I will finish those as well. Okay. So how are you guys like, practicing? Like, now, are you guys practicing all the things like that we are discussing?
Uh, like 50% only able to practice because my office is running. Like we are having most of releases going, so
Okay.
I'm not getting much time.
Okay. But like,
So
just make sure that you go through like, all these things in your free time. I mean, like, even in
yeah,
future as well, like, whenever your office work is completed,
yeah,
because like, if you
yeah,
want to like, go for an interview, just prepare like, whatever we are discussing here. If you prepare these things, that should be enough for you. Okay, so
yeah. So
yeah, just prepare well. Okay, any questions, any other questions or anything?
Asibuk, can you like just make us like understand that how the real working, like what are the real time scenarios while working as an automation engineer? Because this thing concepts we are understanding, but what context they are being using in the real time projects? Like just wanted to have an implementation on that part also.
we will
So
be
how you
doing we will be doing kind of like a small project in this one. Okay,
will? Okay,
then you will
okay,
understand like all these concepts. We will use all these things, like we use data driven testing there, and we use extent reports, we use log4j2, we use testng, all the concepts in the project.
okay. Then I think we will be
There
able to.
there you will understand like, So right now you are learning like all the individual things individually,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But once you use this one in a project, then you will understand how to use all the things that you have learned together. Okay,
Yeah.
you'll come to that point.
Okay. So.
Okay, then you can take any other site and then you can start implementing the once the project is completed, then you can take
Mhm.
any other site and you can start implementing this automation scripts on top of that.
Okay.
Okay, but make sure that you prepare well all these topics before that, so that you can
Yeah,
do the
sure.
project easily. Okay, another is
Yes.
basically you have to know how to get the information from Google also. Okay, because sometimes you may face some new situation in your project where you have to
Mhm.
able to do handle that situation. If you prepare well all these topics, okay, and also you
Mhm.
have to see how to search for the information on Google. Okay, it's not like in the earlier days of these programming languages. Now we have a lot of information available on Google, so you have to know how to get the information from Google. You just go and search on the Google if you don't know something. If you are
Mhm.
facing something entirely new in your projects. Okay.
Yeah, because this is also, I think, skill because today you have searched, no, that that thing
Yes.
that time how to do the time stamping thing that
Yeah.
so
True. True.
that
Because
information also.
yeah, because you cannot remember each and everything in Java. Java is like a ocean.
Yeah.
Okay, you cannot remember each and everything. You have to know how to get that one. Okay, and we have I have to show you something else also, which is called Chart GPT. I don't know if you have ever heard about this Chart GPT.
Mhm. Yeah, open AI, no? This yeah,
Yeah, but I
I
think
heard
the
now only.
connection is secure, but I'm not sure. I'm not able to access this one for some time. No, this one.
This thing provides the codes if you are like missing something or like anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Google actually gives you only the results of the different web pages. Okay, but this one will give you the actual code also. You can directly get the code, something like that I have seen in the previously where how to get the code timestamp in milliseconds for Java.
Mm-hmm.
That code I can directly get it in this one. Okay, I will show you this one, but
Yeah, I've tried it for some of the things. Yeah, it works very fine.
okay, so you can search it here saying that write a Java code for getting time in milliseconds. Okay, if you do this one this will give you here are the three different ways to get the current time in milliseconds. Method one, using get time method of the date class. Okay, so this is giving one program for you. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is date is equal to new date, long time milliseconds, date dot get time, using get time in millis. Okay, so you can use calendar class Java and you can get this one. And method 3 is now dot to instant dot to epoch value. So it is giving different options for you. Method 4, local time dot now. Okay, this is another way of getting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are the different ways of so you can use this one if you don't know something in Java. Okay, or you can try anything else, whatever you have tried earlier, or you can say uh, write program for getting base 64 base 64 images in Selenium. It looks like the solution for getting in Selenium is using web scraping involves a few steps. First, using XPath or a similar method, you would need to locate the image element and exact image URL. Okay, variable function system dot Okay, this is like this is one method, okay, that we have, but you can improve this one, okay. So our question was like, we have to modify our question saying that like, write program for getting screenshots in Selenium with Java using take screenshot. So is it like a take screenshot? Yeah, take screenshot, takes screenshot interface. Taking screenshots in Java can be done using take screenshot interface. Here is an example of this one. Okay, so it imported the take screenshot, and then it imported the WebDriver, and then it imported the Chrome driver, and it imported a file. Initialize. Okay, it is initializing the WebDriver, and it is getting like some site like example.com. Take screenshot and store it in the file. Source file is equal to take screenshot of driver dot get screenshot as output dot file. Okay, and file utils dot copy file of source file comma new file of screenshot dot png. So it gave you a method like for taking a screenshot and storing it. You see this one? So this is like very useful, but the problem is I don't think like you'll be able to use it in your office systems or in your offices. If you have a personal laptop, like you can use this one, but sometimes like basically people are thinking that like this is an alternative to Google. I mean, like in future, this will be more popular than Google, actually. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you can use like this one also if you don't know like something like or anything like see, we cannot like remember each and everything in Java, right? In Java or Selenium. Okay, basically you have to know like how to set this one or how to use this Chat GPT, uh, then you will be good. Okay. Okay, fine then. I think like it's already like well, okay, okay, fine then. We'll see tomorrow. We'll finish this action reports tomorrow, and then we'll go to log4j2. Okay. Okay then. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Subbu.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Any questions for anyone? I think I said.
No, all good. Bye.
Okay. Fine. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.